as basketball season opens up, we know that means football season is winding down. We've felt very repetitive in our analysis over the last month or so. And it's been tough really to talk about because it's hard not to copy paste. This week, Memphis did finally blow the doors off of somebody, 53-18 against UAB. Not a great team, but Memphis has played a lot of not great teams and not won in this fashion, not won in a dominant fashion. So the conversation is a little bit different. We don't have to go into that conversation this week and talk about how, here we go, repeating the cycle, rinse and repeat, boring, pulled it off, yada, yada, yada. We've said it literally like 8 times this year already. So there's no sense in going there. But Memphis is 9-2. Obviously on the outside looking in the American Athletic Conference championship, not on the table for this team after losing pivotal games. Going into Tulane as 2 touchdown underdogs, which has got to be difficult, especially you don't see many 9-2 teams as 2
touchdown in the hook, 14.5.
14.5. Yeah.
Damn.
So how do you feel? How should we feel at this point in the season? Memphis sitting at 9-2 with really no mathematical chance of AAC championship.
Can I first get to a couple positives? Seth Hennigan
played a ball game.
299 yards, 4 touchdowns. He broke into the record books even more, 100 touchdown passes. He is one of 3 players in college football active that has reached that mark. He's the only one of those 3 that's done it at the same school. And we talked about legacy with him, or he talked about legacy last week with Jonah Dillon. And he's a very realistic guy, and I think he's pretty thoughtful. But he talked about how not winning a championship could hurt his legacy going forward. And we've had that discussion too, where maybe the stats look a little more empty to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because he didn't break through and win a championship and get to a college football playoff. But I think his legacy is pretty well stated. I think going down the road, we will think of him as another great at the quarterback position here at the University of Memphis. And the fact that he stayed in a day and age where leaving could probably have made him more money, more notoriety, more fame.
Yeah.
I think that is what he should be remembered for. It would have been really easy for him to leave for a Texas school in the Big 12 and make more money and be in his home state and, be in the national picture a little bit more, but he stuck it out here because he believed in the place. So I'm just want to start there. Also, before we get into any of this conversation, I want to mention Ryan Silverfield continues to be very honest and open at his pressers. He said we didn't make it to a conference championship, and I need to be better. Now, I will say I like the message. I want to stop hearing that message, though. You know what I mean? No one wants to hear that message anymore. Because the more you have to say it, the more people start to think it's just empty words and promises.
Right.
And I think that's where we're at this point in time. Now, how do I feel about 9-2? Okay. Not great.
Yeah.
Not even really good by any stretch of the imagination. Tulane has gotten to 3 straight AAC championships, probably with a little bit less in the way of resources. You should be on their level. You should exceed that level. They also went through a coaching switch and still were able to take advantage.
And a quarterback change.
And 9 wins in this conference, or 10 wins. I don't really care what they end up with. It's just it's not that good. Your combined win percentage for the teams that you've beaten for your 9 wins is 295, meaning those teams have only won 29% of the games that they could have won. They've lost the rest. And I just don't know how to explain that away. You also look at this conference, the American, there's been 5 in-season firings. Biff Poggi got canned today. Stan Drayton, Tom Herman, that was all in a 24-hour period. And we can almost guarantee the team that you just beat 53-18, that's 2-8 at UAB, they're going to fire Trent Dilfer after this year. There'll be 6 in-season firings for coaches. that's in a conference like that where you clearly have bad enough product to have 6 different coaches being fired and them looking for new leadership. You should be at the top of that conference, first
Yeah.
or second every single year.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating. And also watching Tulane, that Navy team that put up 56 points on you, they just beat them 35-0.
Yeah.
You should be on that level. And to not have shown up at an AAC championship since 2019, since the Cotton Bowl year, it's frustrating. I feel okay about 9-2, but I don't feel good by any stretch of the imagination. It should be better.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly wise because we know that the ceiling can be higher. And with looking at Tulane, because I think that is a great place to look at and seeing what they've done over the last several years, especially this year, with coaching change, losing their, stalwart star quarterback,
Pratt.
Michael Pratt, and still doing what they've done this year with a very different style. It's not been a pass heavy attack. It's been a lot of creativity offensively. It's been a lot of running the ball, getting guys the ball in space. They've adapted. Obviously new coaching staff, so things have changed. But just seeing what they've done in year one under new coach, new quarterback, new system, it just makes you think, man, like Memphis is so established. They have the same coaching staff. They have the same players. And Tulane still is able to go do what they've done so far this season.
Memphis was second in returning starters and returning production on both sides of the ball.
Right.
So, there's just not that much of an excuse for not getting into the American Athletic Conference Championship this year.
Yeah.
When you win that UTSA game, we're having a different conversation, but you lose to a very average, if not below average.
Yeah.
So I don't feel great. 9 wins, 10 wins is cool. It looks good on paper, but it doesn't excite the fans who keep leaving in droves. They're not showing up to the games.
Yeah.
So I think this is the first year, and obviously the stadium renovations have something to do with this, but I think they had enough capacity to at least reach this number. This is the first year since 2001 where a home game, you didn't have a single home game that reached 30,000 fans in the stands as far as attendance is concerned. You can act like the fan base is spoiled all you want, but in the end of the day, considering the resources, considering the checks that are being wrote, considering everything that was on the table this year, I think the fans deserve and need better. There's a lot of things that hinge off seasons like this. Getting to a new conference, getting donors involved, getting people excited, getting butts in the seats. A lot of things hinge off of results, and the results have not been good enough and are not good enough. And it's sad. You get off senior day, but there's always this backdrop of what could have been.
Yeah.
Or maybe what should have been.
Yeah. So, yeah. I think that's more fair is what should have been. And it's well documented. I mean, we've hashed and rehashed what they, could have, would have, should have done. But I think you talking about optics versus reality is kind of what you were just going with there. I think it's a big thing. And 9-2 looks great. Like all these things look great, and we understand. Like, yes, a 10-win season is solid, regardless of who you play. Winning 10 games, great. But in this conference, with this level of competition, it's not about the games you won. It's about the games
with who you have and the experience you have.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Not only about your roster, but it's about the teams that you lost to. Yeah. It's about the UTSA game, Navy game. Okay. Whatever. It's a solid team that's been really good for the majority of the season outside of getting waxed by Tulane. But it's just those moments when it's like, this is the pivotal moment of the season. And then you go laying it. That's the kind of stuff that just, I think gives you that feel of it's okay. Like, yes, 9-10 wins, solid bowl bid maybe, which we know bowl games are basically relevant now. But it's just the what could have happened in that game.
Yeah, here's the thing,
you just take care of business. It's not even that you had to go upset someone. It's just if you go take care of business and do what you're supposed to do.
Like, here's the thing, man. Like, I know how hard it is to win college football games. Like I completely understand that. I lived it. And I like part of me feels like a complete asshole to
Yes,
sit here and
I
down
feel
9
that.
or 10 wins. Like I feel like a complete douchebag.
Yeah,
But in the end of the day, I'm just looking at the checklist items that you need as a program to be a champion.
yeah,
And this program has it all. They have the talent, seemingly have the coaching staff. You have the facilities. You have a stadium that's being built. They're spending money on that. You have more than enough NIL, more than just about anybody else in the group of five in the entire country. And when you're not getting and winning those championships or getting to them even, you have to ask yourself, well, what more do we need to reach that level?
right.
And I don't have an answer for that.
I think that's the difficult part, right? Is
Yeah,
there's
like
nothing you can
you
tangibly put your finger on.
everything you need to go win championships. Why aren't you?
Right.
That's therein lies the problem and the bad feeling in the pit of people's stomach, even though you've won 9 or 10 games.
Yeah.
Like you can't just rely on a win total in this
Yeah.
conference with this set of circumstances. You can't do it anymore. At one point you could at this program, no doubt. We've talked about it. Larry Porter era, everybody was begging to get to 7-6 wins.
Right.
And I know how much it's changed where 9 wins doesn't really feed the beast, but you create expectations. Sometimes you become the prisoner of said expectations.
100%.
And that's a reality of coaching. And it's not going to change anytime soon. It just won't. That's how fans are.